Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to this week edition of Ask Your MP. Today we're going to talk about youth MPs' performance in the 10th Parliament. My name is Lucy Lapoti, and with me I have Honorable Mpaka. He will introduce himself, where he represents the committees he's in, and any other responsibilities that he carries. Honorable, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm called Mwine Mpaka. I'm the Youth Member of Parliament representing Western Uganda and former chairman of the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Youth Affairs.
Yes, Honorable, thank you so much and welcome to the show once again. We are trying to look at your manifesto as youth, National Youth Manifesto 2016-2021. What is it that is in the manifesto?
Well, the manifesto is quite a big document, but the key issues are access to financing for cheap, access to cheap financing for the youth, opportunities, employment opportunities for the youth, but mainly as youth members of parliament, we are focused on access to cheap financing because we already know we have about 4 existing government programs. However, we moved the bill, Youth Development Bank bill, in order to shift from commercialized financing to development financing. But we have had a lot of challenges because we have failed to get a certificate of financial implication from the government. So we are, I think we're on the right track, but we have a few challenges here and there.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Mpaka. You viewers, if you have just joined us, we're here for the show with the Honorable Mpaka. Is the youth representative in the floor of parliament for Western Uganda. And today we are going to assess their performance from 2016 to now that we are in. Honorable, how do you see your performance as youth MPs in this short period of midterm?
Well, I think we have done fairly well. I cannot say we have done very well, but probably could have done better if we didn't belong to political parties. But I think we have done fairly well compared to the previous regimes, because we have moved quite a number of motions, we have moved quite a number of bills, and regardless of our political parties, we have been working as a joint force.
Can you highlight to the viewers what maybe 1 or 2 motions that are very key that you moved, and the bills that are very key that you moved? And I also want to remind you that viewers are watching you all over the world, and they have already started sending their questions. Maybe you respond to this question, and then we go to respond to their questions.
We moved the Uganda Development Bank bill. The intention was to move all youth-related programs, the Youth Livelihood Fund, the Capital Venture Fund, and all these other programs the government has given us involving financing into a Uganda, something similar to a Uganda Development Bank. But the main goal was to attract foreign donors and also to shift from commercialized financing to development financing. We also moved the bill on the graduate scheme. The intention of this bill was this one is actually at the committee stage. However, we also failed to get a certificate of financial implication, but it's now in the Gender Committee where I sit. The goal of this bill was to help graduates. We know it's becoming more of who you know than what you know. And most of our graduates, if you look at someone who has got an experience from a garage, he has more technical know-how than someone who has gone to Makerere University, for example. So we wanted to equip these young people with the experience they need, in that when someone graduates after university, the government is supposed to deploy you to any institution, depending on what you studied at the university. And they're supposed to pay a stipend allowance of about 500,000 for a period of 1 year. This will help you get experience. This will help you eliminate the technical know-who. I know who is going to help me connect to who to get a job, because abilities of no account without opportunity. If you can show your ability, maybe you'll get a permanent job. But most important of all, you can also save that stipend allowance to start a business on your own. We moved a motion to stop landlords from charging rent in dollars, because we know our young people are the ones who are beginning to, our young entrepreneurs are suffering because they earn their money in shillings and they are charged in dollars. We have had some success. The ministers brought a bill, and we hope it can go as planned. But we also moved a motion to help our young boys and girls in schools. This was moved by the National Female Youth MP, Anna Deke, concerning sexual violence. And the select committee was set up. We have just finished a report, and Parliament actually yesterday adopted this report with various recommendations on how to protect our young boys and girls from this sexual violence.
Well, thank you, Honorable. We have already viewers on standby. They are watching you, and viewers are watching you all over the world. And one, Iguma Gabriel, is asking you, you can read and respond according to the questions that are coming in.
Well, Gabriel is asking, how should we access the youth MPs? We have about 4 youth MPs, but 1 national female youth MP. And we have offices at Parliament. We have Facebook pages. Some of us even have social media platforms like WhatsApp and Twitter. But most important of all, we cannot have offices in every district. For example, I represent over 28 districts, and in these 28 districts, I have over 62 constituencies. So I cannot have an office in all these districts, but we have been engaging youth in different platforms, and those who can manage to meet us have been meeting us here at Parliament in our offices.
So would you mind the youth watching you out there to know what your Facebook page is or your Twitter handle is?
Yes, my Facebook page is Honorable Mwine Mpaka, and I'm always interacting with various youth who have different concerns. And unfortunately, I don't have a Twitter handle, but we also have a WhatsApp page for leaders in Western Uganda, where we bring together different views from different districts.
Okay, thank you so much. Viewers, if you have just joined us, we are debating or we are discussing our performance of youth MPs in this midterm. And here with me, I have Honorable Mpaka, our youth MP for Western Uganda. Honorable, why is it important to represent youth in Parliament?
Why is it important to represent youth in Parliament?
Yes.
Well, first of all, youth are a special interest group. This is a group with special advantage. Just like the women, just like the people with disability. Yeah. And much as other MPs would be doing this particular job. With us, we concentrate mainly on the factors that affect the youth. In the budget process, for example. Every bill they bring to Parliament, during appropriation, everything somehow affects the young people. And unfortunately, we cannot be in all these committees. But the committees we are on, we always do it strategically. We cannot have 2 youth MPs on the same committee. We have, I am on gender, for example. We have another youth MP on the AIDS committee. So we are trying to diversify, but it is very important to have youth MPs because you need a voice to single out or to categorically champion issues related to the youth in Parliament.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Mpaka. One of your roles in Parliament is an oversight role of seeing government programs like Youth Livelihood Program. How are you performing in this?
Well, with the Youth Livelihood, we have had challenges. Not of our own making, but I want to say of the Ministry of Gender. Because at a certain point in our Gender Committee, the Department of International Development of the United Kingdom gave us money to carry out regional reviews of this program. Unfortunately, the Gender Ministry, headed by the Permanent Secretary, Pius German, carried out a review of this program using RDCs and town clerks. And there's nothing for us without us. We know the challenges affecting this program, but they have never involved us. Section 9C of the Youth Livelihood Manual states that youth MPs are supposed to meet twice a year to discuss this program. We have never had a single meeting. And we know the youth livelihood, much as it has helped a few people, and much as we still need it, it has several challenges. And at this rate, I believe it's not going to help the young people. If these people keep trying to take decisions on our behalf, actually we had come down to a conclusion that we move a motion to halt this program. And now we believe it is being taken to State House. But we are calm because for us we have a bill that is pending and we want to take this money back to a youth development bank and remove it from the ministries and wherever it goes, even if it is State House, we want it under one repository. So we have challenges with the YLP. We have tried our best, but we are being failed by the Ministry of Gender.
Okay. Before we go back to our wall there, you talked about money. There's some kind of intention of putting the money in State House. How will it be accessible to 80% of Ugandan population?
Well, these are questions we are all asking ourselves because in our agenda committee, when we looked at the budget that is being allocated to the youth livelihood, we realize it's only 4 billion. This is not enough even to implement. So much as it has not yet been said official that the YLP is going to State House. When you look at the budget, they have allocated. Yesterday, I read a message from Cabinet telling us what Cabinet had discussed, but that is just hearsay because they have not yet brought it to the floor of Parliament, talking about how they have increased the youth livelihood money. Well, they may have increased it, but not who is going to run it. These are the questions. Is it going to State House as they are saying, or is it staying in the ministry? So these are questions we're also still wondering. But as it stands, the YLP has only 4 billion shillings, and this money cannot actually do anything for the young people.
So how are you as MPs involved in monitoring process?
Well, the youth MPs are not involved in the monitoring of the YLP. It's the National Youth Council. You know, we are products of the National Youth Council. All of us were part of the National Youth Council before we became youth MPs. So the National Youth Council is those are our bosses. Technically, those are our bosses, but they are the ones involved in the monitoring of this program. Even the district youth chairpersons are involved. But we as youth MPs, we are supposed to get involved in those meetings, biannual meetings, twice a year, but we have not been involved. So actually we are pondering, should we stop this program? If we stop it, what is the impact on those who are already benefiting and those who are not benefiting?
Yes, you still have questions from Iguma.
Iguma is asking, with the high unemployment, can we say youth MPs have failed? No, I don't think youth MPs have failed. This is not a problem of the youth MPs alone. Unemployment has various types. We have structural unemployment, we have seasonal unemployment, we have friction unemployment, we have cyclical unemployment. Currently, the one that is affecting us the most is structural unemployment. You know, our syllabus, our education system anyway in general is not creating jobs, but instead it's creating job seekers. And at times even the courses these young boys study at the university are not the ones demanded in the job market. So that's structural unemployment. You cannot say the youth MPs are the cause of structural unemployment.
Yes, and this is one of the things that is in your manifesto.
Yes.
Now the question is, with the ban in recruitment by government, how is it affecting youth of the country? Because every year we are enrolling about 40,000 graduates.
Yes.
How is it affecting your manifesto, what you put in the manifesto, the implementation of your manifesto, and how is it generally affecting? Because you talked about the practical courses that should have been in place basing on the National Youth Manifesto, but is not yet being implemented. How is it affecting your performance generally?
Well, like I said, at times we want to champion some things, but because we belong to political parties as youth MPs, it is at times difficult. Because when you are in a political party, you always have caucuses that agree together on a certain decision. For example, we had an issue with the mobile money tax. It was affecting the mobile money agents. Not only the people of Uganda, but also the mobile money agents who are largely youth. But when we had the caucus, we agreed to support mobile money tax. But some of us agree to disagree with that party decision. But you cannot do this for so long. Remember, even the youth that brought us to parliament voted us in certain political parties. So they expect us to be loyal to those political parties. So it's not only an individual issue, but I think youth MPs in the future, if they did not belong to any political party, actually all special interest groups should not belong to any political party to effectively represent the people they belong to or the people they are meant to represent.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Mpaka. Viewers, if you have just joined us, we are discussing the performance of members of parliament for youth, and then we are trying to rate them according to their National Youth Manifesto, of which they highlighted a number of issues, including employment, youth access to credit and income, or finance, development financing, sources of getting developed. Manifesto, and we believe you're here to implement is the limited access to credit and income, as I said, I've just said it. Now that you are 4 in parliament or 5 in parliament, what are you doing to ensure that, how do you see yourself performing along that line of youth access to development financing?
Well, one, we had the capital venture fund, much as the interest rates are still high. But when the main solution to youth access to cheap financing would be the establishment of the Uganda Youth Development Bank. We have had one in India. India was the first country to set up this bank in 1973, and India. I think if we had this bank here in Uganda, one, youth would be able to get cheap loans at an interest rate of about 9%. Two, we would be able to have all our youth programs financed. We can also attract foreign support, foreign financial support. So for us, we have zeroed down on a youth development bank to help our young people. Generally, as youth MPs, we realize we cannot manage to champion youth issues alone in Parliament. So we came up with this forum, the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Youth Affairs, which has existed for about two terms. This is the third. And in this forum, we have about 143 members of Parliament who are interested in youth issues, not only youth, to help us even in committees. When we realize we have a bill that is going to affect the young people, we all come together in this forum and we discuss so that we have more forces on the floor than just the mere 5 of us.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Viewers, we are discussing issues concerning the performance of members of parliament for youth in parliament, and we are rating them according to National Youth Manifesto. Honorable, it is the right time I take you to the viewers for you to respond to their questions one by one.
Richard says, what do your constituents demand of you? Job. They're asking us for. All our people want jobs. PC Wachiomba asks.
Sorry for that.
Okay. Asks, what would you like to achieve in the rest of your tenure? One, I would like a youth development bank to be set up. Two, I would like government to involve the young people. In much, for example, we have the student loan scheme. It has its challenges. They should involve the young people in reviewing this program. At least every year, this program should be reviewed because the dynamics keep changing. So I want more youth inclusion in programs. Gabriel asks, will taking the Youth Livelihood Fund to State House solve the problem? No. Taking the Youth Livelihood Fund to State House will absolutely cause more problems than we already had. One, it could become a political issue. For example, those who belong to other political parties may indirectly shy away from getting this money. And we are not even sure how they are going to manage, because State House doesn't have this structure. So we're going to have duplication of resources. It's going to set up a whole secretariat to run this fund. So I don't think when you do a cross-cultural analysis, the geography, everything is totally different. So we need regional reviews of this program. Laban, youth are a special interest group and also the majority of the Ugandan population. How are you engaged? How have you engaged the government on involving you in top-tier politics? Well, we are members of parliament. We are now hearing the possible barrier on.
Okay.
Still reading.
Okay.
We're now hearing of a possible barrier on presidential candidate contestants by making a lower age limit. No, this is a whole lie. I was in Chankwanzi. This is not true, and it's not even anywhere in the corridors of parliament. So I don't think it is true. And the YLP program document references the role of youth MPs in monitoring the project. Does the challenges the program face implicate youth MPs? No, they do not implicate youth MPs because we have made it clear, even on record of parliament, that the ministry has failed to carry out these biannual meetings. Even in the gender committee, it's on record, we have raised this matter, but because we think some are still benefiting from this program, we have been a little bit patient with it, but eventually when our bill comes up for secondary, the Youth Uganda Development Bank, Uganda Youth Development Bank. Ronnie, how will the youth MP help the youth get jobs? Well, how will the youth MP help the youth get jobs? We have come up with various motions and bills. The first one, I think, to help the youth get jobs, a labor export fund. We have had our young people going abroad, but doing work that is, I would say, not professional, I think. But we are coming up with a labor export fund because, whether you like it or not, Uganda does not have the capacity to employ the current population of the young people. Just like the Philippines is doing, just like India is doing, even the Chinese you see here in Uganda are looking for jobs. That's labor export. So we wish to have a labor export fund to take our young people abroad. Government is supposed to pay for you the initial costs, the ticket and everything, but you are supposed to be going for professional courses. If you are doing accounting here, we also want to lobby to make sure we get accounting jobs the other side. Not having a doctor from Uganda going to clean a hotel, much as they may be paying more money than he's earning here. But the main purpose of this fund is government is supposed to pay for you to go abroad. Then the first salary you're supposed to be getting is supposed to be deducted for someone else to use this money to travel abroad and also get employment. Karen, as a youth MP, what have you done for your constituent in particular? One, we have lobbied for agricultural inputs. We have had HIFAs being distributed in all districts in the country, not only Western Uganda. We are now lobbying for goods to be distributed, but these are little compared to the population. So I think as a youth MP, I've done more of legislation in my constituency. Esther, the existence of youth MPs are supposed to tackle less employment opportunities, increased crime, and vulnerability and uncertainty. This is true. But you should also come up with ideas on how we should do this. We are trying our best. As we try to also remove the motion to protect the youth that are being scammed under Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. But I can assure you, to this date, Parliament passed this motion last year in November, and the ministers have refused, I can say, to implement this directive to close these schemes. We know so many youth have been victims of D9, so many youth have been victims of now the current OneCoin. But we have a challenge. The ministries have failed to implement the parliament's resolution. So I think, yes, this is our job, and I think we are trying to do it as best as possible, but it is not as easy as you would think, because everything we come up with has financial implication. When something has financial implication, you have to work hand in hand with the government to give you a certificate of financial implication, which is never easy at all, because they normally want ministries to be the ones to come up with these bills. But when you bring a bill, for example, it's like you are giving a certificate, a private member's bill. It's like you're serving the relevant ministry a certificate of incompetence, because they believe they should have done this. When we brought the graduate scheme bill, I'm told now the Ministry of Gender is trying to come up with something similar to it, but they do not want to approve ours. So we are doing our best, I think, in the best way possible.
Thank you so much. If I can recall very well, you have spoken about employment for youth. You talked about the self-help projects. Let me term it as income generating issues. You talked about decision making, access and other things. Now, I want to go to another issues that affect youth so much. That is the issue of drugs, which is part of the issues that you raise in your manifesto. How far is it since 2016?
Well, the use of drugs is not yet, yes, it is a serious issue, but it is not yet that alarming, I could say. But we have been looking at the Canadian model, and I don't think we have reached that stage yet, because Canada had a challenge with so many people taking drugs. But currently in Uganda, the situation is not yet so alarming. And for you to tackle it, you still have to deal with the issue of employment, because it could be one way this drug abuse. But trying to crack down people smoking what we call shisha in bars. We have had youth in the so-called ghettos smoking what they call weed. But it's not yet that alarming, and I think we need to cause and effect are related. We need first tackle unemployment, as we also single-handedly also tackle drugs. The main issue is unemployment right now.
And one of the things that in Uganda, according to the National Household Survey of 2017, it says most youth in the country who are doing petty jobs or who are involved in vulnerable jobs, like in garages, they don't do what they are supposed to, what they have studied, or some of them have not studied at all. So they are doing some kind of job which are jobs that are very vulnerable, with low pay, low earning. It has harsh condition. It has all sorts of bad in it. How are you addressing this as youth MPs?
What you're talking about in a nutshell is structural unemployment, basically, where you have a person doing, for example, ethics and developmental studies, which may not have, yes, this is an important course at the university, but it may not have, or it may have too much competition for the jobs.
Yeah.
So this is what we are calling structural unemployment. The courses these young people are doing at the university do not have demand after they graduate. And that's why you see them ending up, you find a doctor in Chikogo, for example, doing business, and this is someone who spent his 4 years studying medicine. So I think this is structural unemployment. We need to consider having a review of our education syllabus. We need to also incorporate entrepreneurship in our education syllabus at a lower level. That's why you find the Chinese at around the level of peace and here is far much more informed than our young people. So we need to overhaul our education syllabus, but how do you do it without cooperation from the government? Because all these have financial implications. So I think it's not something you can do alone. This is something we all need to come together to find a solution to. But I would advise the young people out there, please concentrate on that have demand to avoid this structural unemployment. And also the university should assist us.
Honorable, I'm looking at this. I want to quote two people. I want to quote the president of Uganda in his budget day at Serena. He said the economy of Uganda is unstoppable. Then the Minister of Finance, Honorable Matia Kasaija, said the economy of Uganda means it's not also stoppable. Now, if our economy is doing well, why is it that there's ban on recruitment? A young person watching you would want to know why there's a ban on recruitment in government or civil servants. Yes, why is there that ban? And yet the economy is doing well.
Well, I personally do not think our economy is doing well, because when you look at our gross national product and our gross domestic product, when you try to balance them, we are actually doing very bad. But furthermore, here in Parliament, when you look at the rate at which we are taking up loans, really, this is very alarming. And I don't know if our children will, I don't know what they will ask us very badly right now. So I don't think the president could have said he would probably by 2020 middle income status. But I don't think the current situation indicates our economy is doing well. The inflation is going up, the poverty levels are going up, access to credit in banks is still very high, high interest rates. The unemployment is increasing, unfortunately, and discounted resources, who are the youth, discount growth. So I don't think our economy is doing well at all.
Yes, before you answer, Esther, I want to find out, basing on the reports that you get, how do youth access medical services, their access to medical health care?
Well, we have had not only youth, I think this is a general problem, access to medical care. It's not only the youth. The government has tried with the young children and vaccination and the rest. But I think we have had it in Parliament, we have had it in committees being debated to have medical insurance. But it goes back to financial implication. If I told you I'd give every Ugandan medical insurance, what would it cost our government, for example? You already know our economy is not doing well. So where would we get this money? Hopefully when we get oil,